Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Welcome to another live unboxing with AstroPrinter. So today's live stream is actually sponsored by Ortur. That's why we have the logo up in the corner. They actually sent me this machine to set up and give it a test.
Ladies and gentlemen,
To make sure
may I have your attention, please?
feed is going
It's
where
time
it's supposed to.
for the final countdown.
There we go. So if everyone just let me know how the audio is going. Is the audio good? Is the video feed good? Please give me some feedback. Let's see who's out there. So we have some people who've been waiting a while. So hey Matt, how are you, Mr. and Mrs. Diesel? Who else is out there? Nadav, good. How are you, sir? Old Curmudgeon. We have a few people on. So how's everyone doing, and how is the audio and the video feed? Please, someone give me some feedback on chat. Let me know if everything is good, so we get going on this. Let's see. On mobile, running in Potato Vision. All is good. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Easel, thank you so much. Okay, so as I said, Ortur sent me this machine to. They actually didn't want me to review it, even though I probably will. They actually just want me to set it up, test it, and beat it up to find out if, the quality and how everything is going. Now, let me just switch the, let's see which view I want. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go this one. Actually, yeah. So, this is, hey Loopy, how are you? So this is the Laser Master 2 Pro, as you can see here from the front of the box. It arrived Wednesday. Now, what's the difference between this and the previous versions of the Laser Master 2? So, what makes it a Pro? There's a few things, actually. They have made some changes. The Laser Master 2, which is the same cube style desktop laser printer that they've had in the past, has a 400 by 430 burn area. This is slightly smaller. Not by much. It's 400 by 400, which makes it a more even shape. But they've added safety features to it and a few other things. So, in the past, they had a tilt meter, gyroscopes built in, that when you tipped it while it was printing, it would shut off the laser for safety features, which is really, really good. They've added a few more since then. So they still have all of those features in there. But they've added a shield in front of the laser, so when it's burning, it actually protects your eyes from the laser. They've also added Z adjustment, so you can actually wherever you're burning on, you can actually adjust the Z height to the optimal height for a more focused laser. They've actually put more attention on the focus of the beam. So a laser beam is as good as the narrow point at its focal point, and they've actually increased that and actually made it a more focused point. So for the same wattage output, you actually get a better burn. And they've also added a fire detection, a flame detection system. So on the inside the unit, when you're burning with it, if it detects a flame, it will shut off and kill the laser. So they're really big safety features. They've also added a drag chain at the side, which actually makes it easier for the y-axis as it moves, and keeps everything nice and tidy. So they've made some big changes to it. So I think the biggest one is the laser, but also the safety features are a huge change. Now, when you're dealing with a laser, always wear proper safety glasses for the laser, and it does come with a set. It should anyway. We'll find out when we open the box. Because even though this is shielded somewhat, you always wear glasses. And if you're in a room and you're using this laser, you make sure that there's extra pairs of glasses. You buy extras. So if somebody walks in, they have to put a pair on while this is working. Now, always using a ventilated area. It is a laser. Never leave a laser unattended, ever, 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 because even though Ortur has gone out of their way to add as many safety features as they can to this build, technology fails, right? You always err on the side of caution. You always stick around, be present when your laser is running. Let's see here. Is that the starter kit? What I need for the Death Star. You need a lot more of these for the Death Star. Hey Gary, how are you? So, let's spin it around and see what's in it. It's in a nice small little box, so it's full. You need to completely assemble it. I'm going to leave the close-up on the screen there because I want you to see what the full details of the build. I've changed my setup for this. When I'm doing a printer, I normally have a camera that I move around, but everything we're going to do for this is actually going to be on the table. So, yeah, and by the way, isn't it amazing? Hey, Maker Viking, how are you? I actually have something I can build on my table and have room. Usually I unbox whatever I can, put some pieces at the side. I can actually do all of this on the table, which is kind of unusual for me. I normally run out of retail space on my workspace on my table, so this kind of worked out. Oh, how big is it? Okay, it is. It gives you a 400 by 400 millimeter engraving area, which is pretty large for a desktop printer or laser engraver. This is iteration 2 of their laser. So they had Laser Master, which was an L-shaped laser, whereas the laser moved on an arm. Then they had the Laser Master 2, which was the square design similar to this. And now they have the Laser Master 2 Pro, which has added a lot of safety features and a more focused laser for better burning. So, and one thing I forgot to mention, they've increased the speed of this as well. Previously, the Laser Master 2, I believe, had a maximum speed of 4,000 millimeters a second. This can do 10,000 millimeters. Now, at that speed, you're probably not going to be burning much, maybe paper. But even then, they have actually increased it. So, at some point, if they do higher output lasers, you actually may be able to get speeds at a higher speed. Or burns at a higher speed. Maybe even just slight engraving. It would probably work at the high speed, maybe on paper or card, but it won't work on wood. So, let's get unboxing. Let's take all the parts out. There's a whole kit in here, so let's go through it. Now, I do have the manual. And actually, let me zoom in on the manual. I have the manual here, and I'm going to bring the manual up on screen while we go through this, because what's in the box is very basic for instructions. There is a really good manual online that actually has been been created by Gil, who's one of the support guys in Portugal. Gil and I have chatted fairly regularly, and the instruction manual he has created, the online instructions, is phenomenal, and he's constantly developing it. It's a living document. So we're going to run through the steps based on his instructions, not the ones that come in the box, because they are pretty basic, and we're going to use his instructions instead. Hey, Alter Proxy, how are you? So let's get it unboxing. Let's open it up and see what's inside. If it's anything like what I normally see from Ortur, it's going to be well packed. So let's see. Let's see what's in this box. On the large screen, you can see what's in the box, and as I take it out, you'll see it on a close-up. So we have a top layer. Actually, I think I opened that up upside down. I did. That's okay. I was seeing the base and not the top of the foam. That's a good start, opening it up upside down. Okay, top layer of foam. We have a little focusing chart on how to focus your laser. Pretty straightforward. Now there is a few versions of this that come with slightly different kits. Some come with the I know Chris Kersley had one last week, and you had to loosen 2 screws to adjust up and down the Z, and it was a manual adjust. Some come with the screw adjust, where you can actually bring your Z up and down by turning a screw on top. So there's no manual adjustment like that. And some of them come with the rotary tool. So I don't think the rotary tool's in here because I believe it's a separate box. And I did not get that. So we have their manual. Let's have a look. It has a list of all the components. There are instructions to assemble. It seems pretty good. But I'm going to follow Gil's one because I know he's made some changes to what's in this. So it seems to be covering a lot. It's in multiple languages. We have English, German, French, Spanish, I think that's Italian. Yeah, it's Italian. And let's see what else we have. I'm not sure. Portuguese, I think. So there's a couple of different languages, but the online document right now is English only, I believe. But knowing Gil, because he's being Portuguese, he's probably going to be working on other versions of it. Let's see what we have out here in chat. It's an open frame. It is an open frame that sits on top of a desk, but it does have a shield that comes down over the laser, which we will show you in a while. And it does, and obviously you never operate a laser without safety glasses. And we will be wearing these once we get going. So we have some safety glasses. This is the measuring tool. It's an aluminum block used for measuring the correct focus point for your laser from your part. We have some brackets, which I'll keep all over here. This is an end stop. I believe it's for the Y end stop, based on Chris Kearnsey's assembly last week. We have our USB cable. We have a selection of, we have the belts, which are in here, and some brush. Looks like a 3D printed part for holding our focus assistant, and some sample pieces of wood. Looks like 3mm ply for testing. Okay, so this kit came with the Z offset, where you can actually turn the screw to change and adjust the height of your Z of the focus point for the laser. That's nice. Chris Kearnsey did not. Chris's one last week did not have that kit. We have our two. These are the plates for our legs, which we'll get into in a while. Our US power adapter. I need to keep this close by. Take this out gently. This is our laser head, which we will unpack shortly. More brackets and screws. There's lots of them. Or Y drag chain and cables. Put them there out of the way. More bolts, T-nuts, and so on. Okay, so we have inches. Okay, so because this is going to the US, they have, let me uncover these, it's easier to see. The iterations on the axes is actually in inches. Now, if you buy it in the EU, it will be in millimeters, centimeters and millimeters. So this is inches. I operate primarily in centimeters and millimeters, so I won't be using this very much. But because I grew up in Europe, and as well as that, most people in the 3D printing community use centimeters and millimeters. So but it is granulated in inches for the US market. We'll keep those two here. There are two of them, the same length. And then underneath that, we have two more that are shorter, that are also marked as in using inches, as you can see here. So two long, two slightly shorter. Let's see, we have the control board, the main control board for the printer, for the ink laser, and it has an emergency stop. So you have an emergency stop button. And there is our sensor right back here. I'm not sure if you can see it. Let me get up here in a close-up camera. Right here, that little bulb here, that's your sensor for the fire. So it does a fire detection. And what it does is, in case of it takes fire, it actually activates an alarm. I got a rogue bolt, apparently. Oh, I got the hands-free kit. So, normally you have to run the laser off your computer, permanently connected to your printer, but I got the offline kit where you have a holder and a screen. Now this screen is the same as I have with the Ortur 3018 desktop CNC machine. So it's a little screen where you can plug in an SD card and you slice the file, put it on the SD card, and then let the SD card do the engraving for you. You don't have to have your computer permanently connected to it anymore. That's a nice option. I know Chris didn't have that one last week either. I don't believe he did. So we have that and its stand. Let's keep them together. Let's see if that's everything minus the more cables. That is for the hands-free kit, or the offline kit. And then finally, our y-axis, or our x-axis, sorry, in which the laser will travel. See, freedom units. Nobody calls them freedom units, except in the US. It's imperial. Yes, like the stormtroopers. Let's see. If you need to ask, how much is it? I believe, I can double check, but I believe it's $400, which is not bad for a laser of its size and with all of its safety features. Let's see if there's anything else underneath, just to make sure I haven't missed anything. No, okay, everything's there. Let's make some room. Yeah, I don't know about if you have to ask. Well, people ask because they don't know, but see, Ram Design caught your stream. Told us leave it for 15. We'll be back. Oh yeah, thanks Ram Design. Yeah, please do hit like, subscribe, and ding that bell if you haven't been on the channel before. And if you have and you haven't done like, subscribe, or ding the bell, you should do so now, please. So let's go through the build, and we're going to use the instructions. So I have the instructions available. So let me see. Let me see if I can share these with you. I have. That's not what I'm looking for. There we go. So let me zoom in on these instructions a little bit more so they're easier for everyone. I can see them on the screen, and then you can see them, you can follow along as I go. So this is what the machine looks like, and I do have this this offline set, which is nice. Let's go through. Let's scroll down, and we'll go through, and we'll have a quick look at the. We won't go over the contents. We'll just go over some of the specs because I believe the specs are in here. Now they do have lots of warnings in here about lasers. Follow them, please. Protect your eyes. Always wear the safety glasses when the laser is on, when it's doing work. Be careful, right? And never, ever, ever leave it alone. I can't stress that enough. Some countries don't even allow desktop lasers for that reason unless they're enclosed. Now, I have seen some drawings that they have kind of kind of have shown a little bit where they're actually talking about building. They might even be working on building an enclosure for this, so it'll actually fit in a box. You'll work away in a box, and then you take it out, and that's where this offline handset would be really nice, because when it's in a box, you can control it from the outside through the handset. So I think they are working on an enclosure for this, if they're not already done with it. Let's see. So they're giving some. This is all the safety features, the information about it. It is a 445 nanometer diode laser. It is a 24 volt 2 amp. The output is 5 watts. Output, I believe it is. So it's pretty powerful for a laser, and this is a 100% duty cycle pulse width modulation laser. Now, 100% duty cycle means it can be on at high power and it won't damage it. Some other smaller lasers, if it's not 100% duty cycle, what happens is you end up burning out the laser very, very quickly. But this is designed to actually run at a high output for a long time. Yeah, it's $399. Yeah, $400. Okay. Thank you, Loopy. Yeah, I should have looked it up before I came on, but I didn't. I'm just being lazy. I'm sorry. It's a Saturday morning, so let's have a quick look. It's a gerbil board. It's a Gerbil GRBL board, so you can control it using Lightburn, or there's another one. I'm trying to remember the free software. Okay, first test the fire sensor. No. Because the way the fire sensor works, I believe if you set this up outside in the sun will activate the fire sensor. So that's one way of testing it, because I believe it's direct sunlight will actually activate the fire sensor. So it's a 400 by 400 build area, as you see here, right? The overall width of it is about 600 wide and about 140 millimeters tall. So it's not very tall. It's about so high off the table. I know so high means nothing to you. So, let's see. It covers the warranty period. As they're talking about the warranty on the parts and so on, the bearings and so on. Okay. So let's scroll down here, and hey Jerry, 3D printing and painting, how are you? So we have all of these components. I'm assuming everything's in the box. It looks like it was. So I'm going to scroll down, and we're going to start into the build, and we're going to have to unbox some pieces and sort them out, and then go through this build. So let's get down. So first thing we do is the hex wrenches. So let's get this unpacked. I do have a screwdriver set that has hex keys, which I often prefer to use, but I'm going to use what comes with a kit, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we have hex wrenches. These little brackets. Anybody who let me bring it up closer for the camera. See these little brackets? These are used that if you decide that you want to set up in a permanent location, these are actually used to secure the laser down onto a work area. So they come with it. You can actually clamp the legs down onto a build area if you wish to. So I'm going to take those out because I'm not clamping it to my table right now. But they are included as part of the kit. And let's sort out some of these brackets, because there's a lot of components. Now, one thing I would say, none of them are marked what size is what. So I would probably recommend, even though they do have a chart that I could print out to follow as a guide, they do not. I think individually bagging them would be a good idea, but these are square. Just get these things sorted out so it makes it easier for organizing later on. See, I'll pull it over out to the side here. Got a whole pile of washers to go in here. Some smaller screws, which I hope some are round headed, some are flat headed, countersunk. So we'll see in a moment where they go. and the rest is same size. Okay. Let's see anything. Let's see. We have Jerry saying hi. Prints more. I posted my logo. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, I saw that, Jerry. Actually, I'm going to print it. One thing I want to change it though. I want to either do a pause at height and where you paint it around the outer edge. I'm going to 3D print it, but I'm going to do a filament change, and actually do it in white instead. I don't know if I have the same color blue, but I'll check. Hey Dominic, how are you? Yeah, we're all going to print out Jerry's logo. We're all going to be big supporters of Jerry. Oh, by the way, Jerry has a hangout as well this afternoon if anyone's interested. I think it's 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Vegas. That's 4 p.m. U.S. Eastern time today. I believe that time is correct. If I'm not right, Jerry, please chime in. So it's a couple of hours ahead. So step 1, we're going to get these 4, and we're going to make sure all of the zeros are pointing inward, and they're all going to just be butted together and held on using some L brackets. Okay. So 0 on the bottom, because these are actually engraved. If you look here, these are opposite. So this starts with 0 to 16, and this one, for the orientation, we always want the 0. Let me see, is that right? Yeah. So they always want the 0 on the inside. Ooh, these are the same. These should be opposite. So we can do that. 0 to 16, and then we have 0 on this side, the 16, and the same over here. Because these will go together like so. 1 p.m. Pacific. Yeah, 1 p.m. Pacific is 4 p.m. U.S. Eastern time. That would make it 9 p.m. UK. So we have these 4 brackets that need to go on, but we also have some bolts. So they're telling me slide 2 of the M5 profile nuts to the outer edge. Okay, so we need 2 M5 profile nuts on the outer edge on both sides. So these are the M5 profile nuts. So we need 2 up here. I'm trying to make sure you can see everything I'm doing on camera. And then we take the corner brackets and we'll put them in, and it looks like the short part here goes in the short end and then this longer strip. If you look on the brackets here, I'll show you in a close-up camera. This has a long strip right out to the end, and this is shorter. So the short part goes into the short extrusion and the long goes into long extrusion. Like so, on the inside. They just put together. Okay, so they just put together like that. And so you can follow along on the instructions with me. Slide in one of the M25 screw to each corner of the frame. Finger tighten them down. So the M5, 25 millimeters. So we have 4 25 millimeters, and he wants them put in on the long end, like so. And actually on these sets, let me show you. I can always show this in the. These are actually countersunk, so there's only one side. The other side is not countersunk. So you make sure you put them in the part where there's countersunk to bury the screws. I need a screwdriver for that. Let me get a screwdriver just to quickly put it on. I'm not going to make it tight. I'm just going. It says just do a finger tight. So, camera, tip the camera up a bit. Which you mean the small? Oh yes. Okay. This will give me a moment. I can do that. I just need to move off screen for a moment. There you go. Is that better? Just let me know if that's good or not. I think that's probably you're trying to see what I'm doing on here. I'm going to just be repeating the same steps on the other end anyway. So once I get to that point. Just get these on so they're a little bit tighter. Going to bring a big trash can for models. I don't think I can ever sell. Oh wow! You're gonna dump them? If you're going to, well, you should try and sell them. And if you, Jerry, I think, and if you can't sell them, then you should turn around and use them as giveaways because you have a giveaway coming up. Now, I know shipping is expensive here right now in the US, but and globally. Oops, don't want that getting in the way. But you might use them as giveaways. I wouldn't throw them away. Because you have some fantastic models that you've been printing over the years. So just consider that as an option. See. So so far the build is pretty easy. There is cabling involved in the wire, which we'll get into. But let's see what else he says in the instructions. A lot have layer line issues. Oh, okay. Well, some people can fix that, but so we have that done. The next thing is to do is we'll need to attach the control board. And we'll have to attach this. So let's see. Oh, you already have many giveaways for next Saturday. That's good. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 6 of these bolts. I'm going to put them in the center so I can segment them. 6 of these bolts, washer, and our two T-nuts. So let's go through this. After assembling the frame, it is important to identify the front left corners, which are 0, 0, which is over here. Okay. Step 3. Move the leftmost M5 profile nut to the 17 centimeters mark. I don't have centimeters because it's in inches, but I can guess it. It's not hard. Actually, I'm going to make these a little bit tighter because I'm going to be moving this frame around. And I can always get back. I can always loosen it if I need to. Does the first of all, the schools and programs, that's a good idea. Does the R2 have a better motion system than you would find on the average 3D printer? I would say it's about the same as you'd find in a printer because they use NEMA 17 motors. This is a Yeah, they're NEMA 17s. They're not using 23s or anything like that. So I would say it's about the same as motion system as you'd have in a printer. The thing is, the board is very different. It's optimized for speed. I would also say they've custom built this for a laser. So there are advantages to custom building something for a specific use. Doing combination uses has its good points, but it also has its downsides. So I would say, like, multi-use machines are fine for beginners and people who are just trying to experiment. But if you want to go really burning, or if you really want to do hard 3D printing or hardcore CNC, then you're better off with a dedicated machine. Because they're designed for that stress. They're designed for that type of setup, and you get better performance out of them and better quality out of them. That's my opinion. Okay. Printing the Falcon 9. Yeah, the Falcon 9 is a cool build, actually. Well, most of you probably know that I've done that. So let's see what he wants to do. So he said move out the screws to mount the control board. So I'm going to have to slide it forward to put the control board on here. You can see from back there, but it's only a couple of screws to attach. Let me see here. I want to zoom in on this part because the line holds the motherboard plate with the frame, so you can finger tighten the M5 screws. Okay. So it looks like this is going to be off the edge over here. I was going to check one thing because he said okay, he says move the leftmost nut to the, so the other one's been used for something else. Okay, that's fine. So let's get these. You will not be able to see what I'm doing here, I'm sorry, because it's off the edge of the bed, but looks like this screws in right to the very end. I'll leave it kind of loose. While I align these. What I'm doing is I'm just attaching this control board. This is the main GRBL control board and all the sensors and so on to the frame. Okay, that's done. With my mouse. Aligned both holes in the motherboard plate to the frame so that the finger tight the M5 8mm screws into the M5 profile nut. So you see what he's doing here. And the second goes all the way over to the end. Okay. Right, so I have that right then. I want to make sure I got it correct. So the second one, move the right M5 profile to the middle of the 40 and centimeter mark. Frame rail, align the frame rail's confirmation placement. So he's asked me to move it over there because we're going to put on one of the legs over there. And I will fix that alignment in a moment because I'm going to unpack these first. So we have 4 legs, or 3 legs, sorry, because the front is actually held up by the control board. That's actually acts as a leg. And we're going to use one of these. Now the way these are being used is, if you want to see up close here, there is 2 holes here and 1 here. This and this are attached to the frame. This one goes onto the T-nut I put just here. And this one is actually where it goes into the end of this frame, but the belt comes through here, and then when you tighten it down at the end of the frame, it actually holds in with a washer, it holds in the belt. And then this one at the bottom is where there's a hole there, but it's where you would bolt on your brackets if you want to bolt it to a table. I'll show you up here and close. So that's what the bottom hole is for. Oh, you're not using that part right now. So it says, come over here to the instructions. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can see the whole page. Align both of the holes, the frame leg. Okay, so I need to have one of these and a washer. I'm going to temporarily align it because I don't want to tighten it yet, because I know I have to run the belt through it. That is our belt tensioner system. And I'll show you this in a moment, what I've done, once I get one of them on. So, okay, so basically what I've done is this one goes onto the second T-nut. So one T-nut goes here, one T-nut goes here that I put in, which is the rightmost, and then this one screws in here to the other T-nut, and this goes into the end of the extrusion. So this little slot above this, which is right where the washer is, later on when I push the belt through that, I will take this out, pull the belt through, and clamp it in place with the washer. That's how I get my belt tension. And on the other side, I have one T-nut holding in the control board, because I put two on each end, remember? And the second one, there's no T-nut, it actually goes into the end of the frame to hold it in place. So the front of it, it ends up supporting it like so. Just let me get this tightened down a little. It should be tight, it should be loose because I haven't got the belt on that yet. Using a Phillips screwdriver, firmly tighten the M5 bolt. The right M5 bolt with the M5 washer, please leave finger tight as a stage assembly because I need to run my belt in there. Next, I need to use my two T-nuts to mount this. Where am I? Here. If you put a lighter near the flame sensor, will it turn off? Possibly. This is just some test pieces. I'm assuming yes. That's a good way of testing it. I don't even know if I have a lighter because I don't smoke. I'd have to check. But so this is a 3D printed part. And the idea of it is it gives you a holding spot for your this big aluminum block is actually your offset from laser to your part for proper focal length, proper focal distance. So this goes on the front using these two T-nuts. So you use two M5s here and some T-nuts to attach it. I wanted to test and review this, but I'm no AstroPrinter. Oh, watch another one. Which do you watch? Do you watch Chris Kersey? Because he did his unboxing of one of these last week. His kit was a little different than mine. So it says here around a 32. I'm guessing around a 13 inch because I don't have millimeters. I got the Star Wars version, the Imperial version. So that screws on here just to hold it in place. Don't over tighten because it is plastic. But you do get a nice mounting point for your offset. For your focus. So I'm guessing the next step is to whisper around and screw. I've done that already, and I can move that around to wherever I want it. Okay, so next we have to put on So, know some unknown person to me. I don't understand what you're saying. Oh, some unknown person. There's a few people who got it. Okay, a random video. Hey Betty, how are you? How's Florida treating you? So I need to carefully flip the laser over, and I need the washer, a bracket, and I need one of these, and my last T-nut. And I need to flip it over. So we're going to attach something on. I need to put this off the edge because the buttons are sticking out. So it is off the edge of the bed to protect the buttons. So label 16. Okay, these instructions, by the way, are fantastic. Every step, even where you put a screwdriver, even the measurements along the X and Y. The only thing is, since this is a US kit, I would recommend it to Gil to identify where in the US kit, being inches, where to put the nuts. But other than that, it's good. The instructions are fantastic. Or don't even build a US metric kit. Just build or the US Imperial kit. Just do them all as metric. So carefully flip the Ortur over and make sure in order to access the underside of the frame, no force or pressure while I have it off the bed to make sure. Slide the M5 nut into the T. So let me get that bracket. I believe it is this one. There's a couple of little brackets in here. I'm going to take them out because I'll be getting some shortly anyway. So I believe it is this one, and according to the image, it is this bracket, and you put the T-nut on here. That should be over there. Slide the M5 screw nut into both sides of the drag chain bracket. Oh, this is the drag chain bracket, okay. And I don't know why I need a washer, because I don't see a need for a washer right here. But let's see, he asked for a washer and I don't see a need for one. Yep, no washer. I don't think I need a washer there anyway. Let's see. See, Betty Boop. Huge build area for light duty things. It is a good build area. It's a 400 by 400. It's a fairly large size. You can start funding me for my Death Star laser maybe soon. If you're starting to build a Death Star laser, I'm not supporting that. So let's see. So screw that on upside down here. I'm sorry. I am not supporting genocide. Okay, that goes on right there. Done. I don't know why we needed that washer, but I don't think a washer is needed for that. Betty Boop, Jerry's converting your bedroom into a printing room. That's already happened. That he's not converting, he's finished. Let's see. X-axis assembly. Okay. So we have the X-axis. We need this little bracket here. 2 form T-nuts and 2 of these. So 2 of these and 2 of these. Slide the 2 M3 5. Okay, so I need to. Oh, they're the wrong bolts. I need these small ones, which are round-headed, I believe. Slide the 2 M3 5mm screws into the drag chain Y-axis. So to go in here. Oh, downside of having big hands. These small screws can be a painful process. Oh, Loopy, don't go there. No, I'm not going to go there. Sorry. Okay, so I need to bring over my x-axis, which is this baby, with the motor pointing. Let's see, make sure I have it the right way around. This way. I'm going to put it off to the side here, like that. And I'm going to mount that on here. So this is threaded. So this is going, just so you see up close, it's going right here by this wheel. Not up here, it goes right by the wheel, right over the motor. So let me move it up closer so you can see it as I do it. Hey Carl, how are you? So I'll give you a close-up. It gets mounted like that. See it there? Okay. That's done. By the way, this is surrounded by wheels. This whole area is surrounded by wheels on both sides. So be careful when you put it down, because it has a tendency to roll around on your table. And you could end up rolling right off your table quite easily. So just watch for that wherever you're using it. Set it down somewhere that won't roll. So that's done. Then say rotate your Laser Master 2 Pro frame so it faces up again. Rotate it again so the back side of the machine is facing you. So we rotate it right way around, and the back side is facing us. I'm assuming we're putting on the rear legs at this point. Slide in 2 M5 profile nuts to the top face of the Y-axis. 2 M5 profile nuts. Why are they mounting here? I just want to see what he's mounting. Why those are in there. Oh, we push them all the way down to the control box, so they need to go into this side right here. And they are the last 2 M5 profile nuts that I got, so the count is good. Okay, these instructions are phenomenal, by the way. Let's see how we have out there. More watching the game on TV. No, what game? I don't know what game you're referring to. If it's American sports, I don't get it. You like to look at a laser, you might need to get one. Well, if you want it, the instructions, the information is actually down below. There's the Amazon link for it, and there is the link to our tour site as well. So if you want to go check out the details, they're actually in the link below. Also below, if you want to support the channel, there's links to my Patreon, there's links to my PayPal, and you can just there's a link to a Buy Me a Coffee down there as well if you want. But I prefer the PayPal option, and I have to admit it, or Buy Me a Coffee. All the others, they all take percentages of everything, and I don't get much anyway. So, not to hear a game was on, Carl. Who's playing? A tattoo machine? No, not a tattoo machine. You get nasty burns out of this. So, back to our instructions. Let's see. Align the axis with the frame rotation of the axis assembly. Okay, so I need to make sure that the wheels are at the back. And it goes on. Let's double check, zoom in at these phenomenal images. Screws to the back, and it slides on. So I have to slide the frame together. Basically, this goes into the extrusion. Nice and simple like that. It goes into the V of the extrusion. Carefully lift the frame, guide it between. I've done that. Slide on the assembly. Make sure everything's at the back. That is already done. Let's see. Okay, belts. Time to belt up. So we have these belts. Let's see how many of them there. We've got 2 belts. So one for each side of the Y-axis. So the details sliding the belts in, running through over the little cam that's in there. Okay. So, easiest way to do this is my guess is, bring it back here so I can see. You're going to go under these wheels, and you want it to the side, facing downwards, because it goes over this little cam that's in here, right here, on each side. So make sure the to the side is facing downwards. Just feed it through over the other cam. Not to hit and damage the switch. And then just feed it down side 2. It's a good idea if you put it on, and once you get it started, it actually slides through really easy. Fish it out with a screwdriver so you can pull it through by hand. And just leave it lying in the track, because we have to tension that in a while. So do the other side again. No worries, fingers crossed for a way. Oh, okay, we're talking rugby. Okay, now we're speaking my game. Who's playing? I don't know who's playing though. I haven't been able to keep up with it. I know Wales are playing, and I know half of my family, or most of my family in Ireland, are actually watching it. I just haven't had time to, because in the US rugby is not a popular game. Let's see. Oh, it's football? Oh, no, then I'm not playing. I'm not interested. Sorry, I have no interest in soccer. Well, you call it football, but in the it's in soccer. My view on sports is if you're not bleeding playing, and you don't bleed very much in soccer. So. I'm a fan of rugby. Never got my head around soccer. Never interested in it. Out there. So let's get this roughly in the center. I want to start off in the center and have the belts running out each side a little bit. Okay. I think the British Lions are playing today, though. Well, if they are, that's probably what my family are watching. I'm not sure who they're playing against, but... So, we have the belts down, it's sitting in the proper spots. No twists. Yep, cover all of that. Make sure it's looped over correctly. It's going over under the wheels and not over them. And onto the little cam. Properly down into the V rails. I used to go to watch St. Helens. Okay. So after both sides of the belts are assembled, your master approach should look similar to the image, and yes, it does. So now we're going to use a fiddle screwdriver to remove the. Okay, so we're going to take off, go back to the front of the printer of the laser, and we'll get to the legs in the back in a moment. And we're going to fix this. So we're going to loosen this and feed this belt through the slot. If I can. I might have to loosen this even more. Get it lined up easier. You know what? This would be so much easier with this off. so much easier with it taken off. So I'm going to remove it and make life easier for me. I'm going to feed the belt through the slot, because there's a lot of tension on that, and feed about an inch of it through, and then tighten on that belt and that screw. Yeah, that's holding. So tighten it down. That's not moving. That's better. What laser is on this one, please? The laser on this is a 5-watt laser, but they have increased the focus on the beam. So the beam is actually a narrower beam, so the same amount of energy is being focused at a smaller point, a smaller focal point, which actually gives you a better burn. So for the smaller laser, you actually get better results and faster results. So I'm going to clamp that down on both sides, and then I'll go back and put on. So that's not moving. I'm going to do the same on this side is a little different. So let me do the 2 back ones first. I'm doing it a little out of sequence, but I kind of got a gist of what needs to be done. And message retracted. Okay. Let me see, get this attached in here. Get this fed through. Always a harder part. Then I'll get one of each of these, a bolt, and a washer. Misread. Oh! Yeah, so this is the Ortur. It's a 5-watt laser, and I believe it's a 5-watt output, not input. I have to double check. So basically what I'm doing in the back here is I'm putting on the washer and the bolt to hold in the belt. And I'm going to not tension it yet, but I'm putting it all in place because I will have to come back and tension it in a while. But it's easier to do it with these are off, and it's easier to do it now to get that fed in. See, interesting to see the actual work done. Yeah, I'm not the first person to do the unboxing of this machine. I know Chris Kersey at Kersey Fabrications did one a week ago. But his kit was pretty much the same thing as mine. I think there was some slight variation in what was included in the kit. He didn't have the offline hand controller, which I do, but I'm not going to be doing that, setting that up here. But the basic build of the machine is the same. He had, and I think I have the Z height adjuster, which he didn't have because he was doing it a little bit different. But the basic machine is the same. Okay, so they're talking about use a Phillips screwdriver. Okay, adjust about 2 centimeters. Yeah, about 2 centimeters through there. 1.5, 2 centimeters. Fold it up. Put on a bolt. That's what I expected. That's what I've done. Lay sure it's laying flat inside the extrusion. Nope. Most of the ones that are for sale on Amazon are 1 watt, but you can get the I believe it's a 5 watt. It's actually on their Amazon store. If not, you go to their site. If you buy direct from Ortur, they have a warehouse in the US and they have a warehouse in Brussels in Europe, I believe. So they'll ship from that local warehouse if they have stock, rather than shipping out of China. They bulk ship overseas and then they ship from those warehouses. If you're in Asia, they'll ship out of China. But if you're in Europe, it goes out of Brussels, I believe. And if you're in the US, it comes out of the US warehouse. I'm not sure where the US warehouse is. So you can buy directly from the warehouse instead of dealing with Amazon. And their support is good. And chances are, if you dial support, you're probably going to go talk to Gil or one of his guys. Okay, we need another bracket to fit, because this next bracket is going to be our Y switch assembly. So that's going to be done on the front. That is our end stop for our y-axis. So I'm going to put this over here and spin this around, and that'll be going on over here, I believe. So let's see. Hold the switch pointing down. Oh, that's not the right one. It's this one. So with the switch facing downwards, run the timing belt through. Okay. Hold the Y metal switch assembly and slide it from underneath the timing belt. So the timing belt for this comes up underneath. When no more than 2.5 centimeters of timing belt is necessary to the top side of the metal Y switch assembly. Okay. And it gets bolted on using these bolts. So I need two bolts to go into this. Okay, there's one in here and there's another one that, okay. So we get these 2 bolts. Yeah, for a change I'm using the instructions. I don't normally use instructions, as most of you know. But I'm actually following the instructions this time around. The Y limit switch, these are home switches. Slide forward a little bit. Get a little bit of bite on that. I think number 2, let's double check this. Yep. It looks about right. So you have to move up the belt out of the way, because this has to be lined up with a screw underneath through the hole. So the hole is not round for this bolt, because it traps your belt. Goes right up to the end here, and tighten this down. And this trap, let me see if we can feed more belt through this though first. Let me loosen this up because I want to get a little less belt in front, because I don't think I need all of that. It basically traps the belt between the T-nut and your plate. Which is slightly different to what the other ones are doing, which are using your a washer to act as a bridge. So let's see how this functions as is. Okay, yep. Right then. Now we have that done. Let's zoom back out. So that is done. Align the finger tight in M5 bolts, metal, secure in place, slide it to the motherboard assembly. It is already up against the main board assembly. That's done and tightened down. That is done. So I've already attached these 4 to the back. If you hear a buzzing in the background, it's my phone, but I'm ignoring it. These 4 are already attached, and this is so I did it just to level out the gantry. And then next I'm going to tighten the bolts, tighten the belts. So let's get that done. So basically all I'm doing, I'm going to show you here first. See, I'm going to loosen these screws, pull the belts tight, and then tighten them down on both sides. That's our belt tensioning, and it should be nice and tight. What they're saying. So let's loosen this. Pull that. Nice and good bit of tension on it. There should be no bending, and then bend it up, bending it over so it actually holds its tension position, and then lock down on the bolt because it gets good tension on the belt. Same on this side. Loosen it. Get a good bit of leverage on it. And your tension has to be tight. Bend it over and lock it down. I'm going to do the same for the front to get the front axis aligned. I'm going to loosen these. Make sure I got a good tight tension on that. This one's already done. Yeah, that's pretty taut. There's no slack in those. So we should be good. Let's see what's next. Repeat the same steps, so they're all done. We're good to go on that. It actually goes over what's good and bad tension, what's deemed loose, what's deemed not, which I like. Actually, I might have to give it a little bit more of a tension. I might slide it all the way forward and retension the back more. Let me just give it one last. I want to make sure that the tension is good. If this is not right, you don't get a good response. So what else is going on, guys? Other than football, or sorry, for Americans, soccer. Okay, done. So the instructions here are so good. So drag chain assembly is next. So I need 40 small bolts, one of the larger and one nut. So there's only one nut, so that's good. I need one of these and 4 of these. It's exactly what I got. Count is perfect. So let's see, this is going to be attached in the front first. So let's flip it around. And the drag chain is actually going to be attached. Let me show you. To this bracket right here. The drag chain goes on here and attached here. So by attaching, so that is your anchor points. Drag chain. This baby here. So Master Pro 2. So there's 2 brackets in the end. Or there isn't any brackets at the end. Is there? Oh, there is. There's mounting points. Mounting points in here. And this one has a mounting point in there also. So let's see. I'm going to go through the other side. So there are 2 screws in the bottom. And there's 2 on top. And there's a connector. So I have to make sure I use the connector right way around. So you have on the connectors, you have a wide connector, which actually goes into your control board. So this needs to be mounted on the bottom. And then the other one with all the loose cables. Let me come over here. This gets mounted on the top part on the x-axis. Bring these cables up out of the way. And we're going to use 2 of the Phillips screwdrivers, and we're going to use 2 of the smaller screws to attach it. Once again, big hands, small screws will be a challenge. Just get it on loosely, because I do need to align them once they're on. They can't cross, they can't bind in any way. So all in all, this is about an hour's build. I think I've been on for an hour already, but we did some chatting and stuff at the beginning. But it's about you on your own. I'm guessing an hour and a half. Chatting on a live stream, an hour and a half, 2 hours. But we're most of the way there actually. I think the vast majority of it is already done. And then I need to bring this around. And in this part, assembles, as you see here, scroll down. Let's see, let me get in here. Attach to the bottom, that's done. Using a fill screwdriver, tighten them down, make sure they're aligned. Use the slide the 2 M6 flathead screw into the drag chain. Pre-drill hole. Be sure you hold the cables back. Okay. And attach that on top using the same two screws. So same type setup. This attaches on top here, right by the motor. Stepper motor. Get the second one in. Don't over tighten them, make them snug. Don't over tighten because it is plastic. You don't want to crack it and then ruin any alignment. Let me adjust this alignment a fraction. Slide it over a little bit. Okay, done. Next part. Identify the pre-drill hole in the X-axis assembly metal frame straight highlighting. This is a pre-assembled step and the location should be used in future steps. Okay, I'm assuming the one here in front is what he means. Slide an M5 and an 8mm screw, an 8mm screw. But there's no M5 nut. Oh, there is an M5 nut. It's a standard nut. Hey, non-fam. Oh, I know what this is for. This is the earth for your axis. Okay, I'll put in there finger tight for now. Let's see. Limited switches. So we only connect up the first two. Okay, because it's an open close system. Okay. So plug in the main connector to the board. This is a big wide connector, the big wide white one I showed you. It plugs in. It is keyed, so it'll only go in one way. Be careful. There's delicate pins in there. It should click. You got a good mounting. Okay, that is done. Like, these are great instructions. Look at these instructions, guys. How to make sure it's straight. That's excellent. Lift the Laser Master 2 Pro in order to have access to the underside of the metal Y switch. Okay, and then we need to plug in the black. You need to plug in thin black wire. And the red wire. Red wire is on the outside, black wire is on the inside. So, on a limit switch, which is under here. So the limit switch we installed a while ago. Let me turn this around so you can see. The limit switch is here. It's activated by this frame. and they wanted me to plug in these two wires in here for my limit switch. So it's the red on the outside. I could do it this way easier. Black on the inside. Done. And done. I'll show you a close-up. You see the switches, the two wires plugged in. Okay. Done. Next step. Route the crimped terminal with a thin black wire inserted into the middle post of the Y switch. I want to make sure I'm doing this correctly. So let's zoom in on that. Oh, this is on the other side. Thin black wire. Oh. Okay, I see where they're going with this. They're doing the black and the red and the black for the end stops. So let's get this out of the way. The black's in the center post, and the red on the outside post. And I think we need next to, that's it. Yeah. So the third wire hanging off the red and black here, there's a third wire here. That actually comes down underneath with that what we just put in. That is our earth for the our ground for the x-axis. So slide it in there. Let's loosen it a little bit. And get that clamped in, and we should have a wrench that fits that, so we can get it clamped in nice and tight. Okay, done. These cable instructions are very, very good. More companies should use this because it's excellent. Next, we have to plug in the Y labeled 6-pin connector under the drag chain. So the Y labels, let's see which one is. That's X. This is Y. Excuse me. This is the Y cable. Comes down underneath. I'll show you over here. It comes down underneath and plugs in back here to the motor, on the back end of the motor. And it is keyed. So I'll turn it towards me to make life easy, and I'll show you when I'm done. I'll take those cables out of there. Obviously, when you're plugging in those, they're very delicate pins, so be careful. And the Y cable is done. Instructions make sure it's straight, which is excellent. The X goes to the X, so this is the X. X and X, so this plugs in here. It's keyed to power your X-axis. Route cable for Y. Well, this is the L, but it's not being used right now. So I'm assuming it's on the other side. There is also a Y over. There's also a cable over here that has to be plugged into this motor. So let me tilt this up. It's easier if I do. Just be gentle not to damage the drag chain. What else do we have? Okay, the laser cable, and route the laser cable, which is this cable. It came with the kit. Where am I? Okay, route the laser cable, plug it in up here. Now, there's an earth wire on this side, or is an earth wire on the laser head? Therefore, it goes into the laser head. Okay. So this one plugs in here. It's keyed. It's actually marked as L on this side. Oh, the screen is in the way. That cable is actually marked as L. And then this will go to the laser head. Okay, next we have to get the laser head out. So let's unbox and unpack our laser head. Burner logo into the desk. You know, I thought about it, but it is covered with a varnish, and burning the varnish would not be conducive to health. I have thought about it though. I have. Be gentle taking that out. So let's look at the laser before we proceed. So the laser, these two screws here at the side that can be loosened and tightened to allow you to tilt up or raise or lower. Let me just loosen that. You can raise and lower the shield over the cover of the laser. Now it only protects one direction, which is the front, but still, it's a good addition. Now I do have a different kit though that I want to attach, because the instructions talk about here the thumb screws and talk about mounting it straight on here, but I have an optional kit which allows me to use a bigger screw to adjust up and down the Z-axis, which is this baby. So your laser mounts to this instead, and allows you to adjust the laser height. So let's see it. I don't know if there's any instructions there for that kit. If not, I can mount the laser directly for now, but let me see. I don't see how to mount the laser onto this. I see how this is mounted on. So I'm assuming there's some, this is mounted where the laser goes, but I'm not sure how to mount the laser onto this part. So I'll go with the normal way, and I'll figure that I don't see the instructions to attach to use this unit. But where am I? Over here. So this is a nice unit because you can adjust your Z height. But I'll mount it directly on here for now, but I'll figure out the other part later, and I'll add it on, and I'll probably do yeah, I got the Z adjustment, but there's no instructions in the instructions that I can find to attach the Z, and it's not the same. I assume you have to take off the mounting plate and remount it over here somehow. But there's no easy identifier of how to do so because they don't fit. I'm assuming that plate comes off, goes on here, and then this gets mounted on here somehow. Is my guess. But I'll look at that later, because there's no instructions for it, and I'm not going to foof around with instructions. So let's see what they say. So there should be some long thumb screws in with the laser, and they are over here for adjusting that. So I'll figure out the Z adjustment. I got the Z adjustment, but I did not get the rotary tool, because there is a rotary tool for this as well. Okay, so once engaged, so you basically put these in here, thumb screws, and they act as locking on this dovetail that's right here. You see it? See, let me get up closer. You see the dovetail? It actually locks onto the dovetail, and the dovetail slides over the front, and that's what locks it in place. So let me bring that to the center. Yeah, the Z adjuster is actually a better solution. But I'll just lock that in temporarily for now until I figure out, find the instructions for the Z adjustment, because it didn't come with the pack. At least I don't think so. Let me just quickly check here. Yeah, even the standard instructions don't have it because it's an option. So I'll figure out how to do the Z adapter and I'll do a short video on that and how to set it up. But this is fine because you can adjust it. Just loosen these, and then you use your metal block offset, so that works fine. Let's see. So that's attached. I need to take off, loosen the front hex screw from the plate of the laser module and ground wire. Okay. So I need to plug this cable in here first of all. We move it back in Z so you can see back here. So this cable plugs in here, but I also need to loosen this screw and put the grounding wire or the earth wire in here. So let's get that grounding wire done first, just by loosening this a little bit. It's already loose. They're snug, are they? Snuggish. So this goes in keyed, goes gentle, and then the ground wire plugs in underneath that hex bolt. Yeah. What's the best wood to use? Well, you can use most. Softwoods are easier. Hardwoods will work, but it means you have to burn a lot slower. You have to move a lot slower at a higher output. But you can do it with softwoods are easier, and to do it, you can do leathers. You can do paper, card, soft materials. And if you had a rotary tool for this, you know when you get the drink containers that have they're laminated on the outside, they got a color coating on the outside. This laser will actually, if you had a rotary tool set up, you can actually burn off you can't engrave metal, but you can actually burn off the anodization, the colored anodization of the metal, and reveal the metal underneath. So you can actually burn patterns into like the aluminum drink cups, as long as they're anodized on the outside, like black or blue anodization. If it's white, it probably will not work, but it will work with darker colors. So it comes with some Baltic birch blocks, I believe. Yeah, this is very thin Baltic birch ply, 3mm. It'll actually cut 3mm. It also comes with a little thing of a black acrylic card used for focus. But I would recommend you use and never burn directly on a table. I'm actually going to put a piece of wood on this table and then burn on that. You do not want to burn your table unless you're set up to make it sacrificial and you don't care. So it's up to you. So we have that done. That's done. Yes, all completed. Nice and snug. Next is the two cable ties. Use the bottom of the nylon spacers. Okay, so they want me to loop the cable around and tie it back here with zip ties, and we have plenty of zip ties here. So let's get that done. So it's loop the cable, but that's to hold the cable up. That's a good idea, rather than have a drag chain here. That works. Just loop it around carefully because you're in by electronic components, so be careful. And they say use one on here and one below it. So let's do the one up here first. And there's an off stand above the circuit board down there. This will be point number 2. Right above this heatsink fan. So because this is full duty cycle, it has a cooling fan over the heatsink to cool the laser. Okay, level cutters. There's none comes with it, so let me get a set. Just give me a second. I have lots of level cutters, but none with me. Level cutters everywhere, but never in your hand when you need them. So trim these off. Okay, I'm sure I'll be doing lots of that. Let's see. Once completed, your laser cable should be firmly tied into the laser module, pointing in the up direction. Yes, it is in the up direction. Next, slide the cable tie in the pre-installed plastic base. I'm assuming. Let's see what we're referring to. Well, these are already tied up. Maybe he's sort of pointing with. Oh, yes. So there's actually a mounting right over here. I don't know if you can see it. There's a mounting right over here to tie this in place. This is zip tie this cable so it doesn't get dragged and pull on the connection for the motor. Just make sure it's nice and snug. That's done. And then we have to zip tie everything else on the other side. So let me spin around towards me. I'm basically tying everything down so nothing's moving over both here where it goes to the main board and back over here as well where everything plugs in to your axes. It's a decent idea. I can laser too. Yeah, it is. It's a 400 by 400 is not a bad size. Most of the other lasers are smaller, or they attach to printers that are based on your printer bed size. And I'm not going to say this out loud, but if you needed a larger area, you can buy some 2020 extrusion and some belts and upsize it. Now, so you could always make this a larger area if you needed a larger area to do raster engraving or vector engraving. Not for burning. I wouldn't say it was great for burning large objects, but it will work, yes. But if you want to do an engraving of an image in a larger area than what this provides, you can always just extend the tubing and just get longer belts for it. So it's easy to mod this to make it larger because it's a very simple assembly. Let's get more of these zip ties on. Zip tie everything into place. So this is zip tie everything. Keep it all neat and tidy. And I'm sure these will have to be zip tied over here too. Something like those. But let's see what they say. Yeah, that's done. Zip tied on top, which I was expecting anyway. I haven't zip tied here, but I'll do it now. You're zip tying through the drag chain to hold everything in place. That's basically what you're doing. I can quickly show you. You see the zip ties here, holding everything down on the bottom of the drag chain. So there, that's done. That's done. Let's see where else they want zip ties. Zip ties this cable the x-axis frames. So basically we're zip tying this cable into the upright position like so through the metal frame. No more potato vision, Back on Wi-Fi. Oh, Potato Vision, you mean on your running on your cell phone? Lots of zip ties, guys. Don't be scared to use them. You know, a drag chain on top may not be a bad idea, or a loop of some form, a sprung loop. But that's something small. So let's see what else is being done. Zip tie, zip tie, zip tie. I've done all of these. Get her done. I'm almost there, Ron. I'm almost there. Take a moment for final considerations. It's ready for power on. Oh, smoke, guys. Let's hope there's no smoke. It's ready. It's built. I am not setting up the hand controller, which I will at some point. Because the hand controller, I do have the offline hand controller. Like it's mounted over here with a bracket. So I can actually not have it connected to a PC, but I'm not done that yet. I'll do that later. And I do have the Z adjuster that I have yet to assign it to put it on, but I'll do that at a later point, and I'll video how it's done. There's no instructions that came with it. So we have that done. We will need this adapter, because this measures the height of our laser from our print area. That goes on nicely there. I do have a board I'm going to be printing on. I'm not burning on this board, but I suppose I could burn on this board rather than doing the small ones. It won't make a difference. This is just a piece of scrap anyway. And I can burn on this. Next we need power supply and USB cable. So the power supply is over here. Now, before I turn anything on, yes, I'm going to put on the nerd green glasses. Keep my eyes safe. And you know what? I'm a nerd anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'll be just looking natural. So let's get this going. And so how's everyone's day out there? Anyway, so far, I have one design that a test design that I have. I've already set up on using Lightburn. So plugs in here. There's no adapter settings. You just plug straight in. Let's turn it off. Is that working? Oh, it does. Yeah, okay. So let me plug in my power underneath. I got a light in the front. Let's see if it powers up. I got a blue light up here. I need my USB cable. Oh, the height thing was out of camera view. I'm sorry. So basically what they have here is you have a little aluminum block, and when you're adjusting the height of your laser, this aluminum block doesn't go under the lens, but it goes under the frame of the laser. So it fits in here, which I'll turn it in a moment. Let me turn it now actually and show you. I think the cable will reach. But this little aluminum block goes under the frame height here. So when you adjust, you drop your laser down so it rests on that. Then you lock these in place. This is for now. That will change again when I put a different material in there. But when I put the height adjuster, but that holds in place. So now you've locked your laser head into the right height. This is the optimal focal height from your print area or your burn area. Raise the camera again. Which camera? It's only showing this area. I'll move this forward when I'm actually burning. So get rid of all these bags, because there's bags everywhere. I'll actually bring this forward for all of you to see it better when we're ready to go. Is that better? So you'll actually see the burn area as it happens. And we have some sample pieces that came with it. I will not do a burn on. I'll probably just do. I'm going to do a raster engrave, but I just let me set up my USB cable to tie it into my computer. And my computer's off to the side here, so just give me a moment. Okay. Oh, you have to hold it for a few seconds to power it up, and we have life. Put that down so it doesn't hit the frame. And stop is working. Close the small screen. So you want to go away from the small screen altogether. Actually, that lost focus as well. There you go. I thought I think I want to keep it on close up because I want people to see what's going on here when it's burning. So I will switch screens in a moment because I want to change over from doing the. I'm going to get Lightburn set up and running. So just give me a second. I'm going to max out my Lightburn screen. I have a small image I selected earlier on. I do not know if it'll fit this area, but we'll try. And I don't care if it goes over because I don't mind burning this anyway. If you want to just go back to the main screen, I can just do the main screen only, if that's what you prefer. But I don't have the camera is pointing higher, so that's I adjusted that's why I thought the close-up cam. I'll do the. How about, is that better? I can always move stuff around, but how does that work for you, Jerry? Because I want to show this area as it's working. So let me get Lightburn over here to a different screen so I can see Lightburn better. My chat is off screen, so actually let me move that. Let me move my chat over here. Yeah, that might work. I'm just going to get Lightburn up and running, so I can see it better. So what I've done, actually it's on the wrong screen. I need to switch this over here. So I might have to go off camera to see Lightburn because it's on a smaller screen. So let's see what COM port. That looks good. Okay. So I might be popping off screen because my computer's at the side here. I don't have it up on the table because I needed a real estate. It's on my smaller screen over here. All right, let me actually change something else. I won't be able to see chat very well, but I will switch. Let me switch this around. Put Lightburn over here, and I need to go to tweak this. So I want to see. Let me edit this one. I'm going to change this to my other display. Let's see if this works. Okay, you can see the Lightburn right now. This is a small image I got. It's actually much bigger, but I resized it. And in Lightburn, I've made a few. Let me actually resize this a little bit. It's a bit too big. I want a bit of real estate around it so it can actually function better. Okay, I don't know if that's the right COM port, so let's try. I've set up the Laser Master 2 Pro, and I'm going to show you the settings I've set up in it. So it's GRBL. And it's just serial over USB is what I set for now. I give it a name, and it's a 400 by 400 axis. And my homing position is the front left corner, which is what I want. Finish. So I'm going to test if the connection is good. I'm going to move my laser out of position, and I'm going to let it home. Let's see. pump 15 is probably what it is. And my axis just homed, so I'll have to tweak this a little bit. 1 second, let me tweak this profile. I want to show, let me show Lightburn only first, and then I'm going to switch back to the wide view and let me do my thing on Lightburn, because there's not enough screen real estate to do all of this. So it just moved the axis. So if I switch my views back to this again, and you see me, so what I've done was there's no locking on the axis. So when I move it, and I click on home on laser on it, it actually homes the axis, which is what I need. Right now, this is my image, so I'm going to manually move it out. So I've set the positioning to absolute coordinates, and I've also enabled an option in settings to enable the laser fire, because if you don't do that, what happens is you end up running into issues not being able to trigger the laser when you're doing an alignment on a part. So let's see, where am I? I need to go to set this down to I'm going to do a first run at 1%, but let me reorientate this. I need to resize my screen. Sorry guys, just see me, you don't see my screen. I know there's only so much screen real estate I got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my move, and I'm going to position. I can actually position my laser by doing this. G code locked out. What's this? Okay. So my home position works, and you can see here my axis is moving. I'm going to move it over roughly. I'm going to use the controls to move it over so it knows where it is. And I'm going to go to the start of where I want to put the image. Now that's roughly where I want to be. Now, before I do anything else, because I got a piece in here, I need to measure my offset here. So I'm going to get the little block, loosen this a little fraction so I can tilt it up. And I'm going to put this under here, and it won't fit. So I need to loosen these two screws, move my laser up, settle down there, and then retighten these. And that will go away once I put the Z adjust on it. So now it's at the optimal laser height. Let's be sure that was tight. Put my protective glass laser cover down, and I'm roughly where I want to be. I'm roughly lining it up for myself. So I'm firing the laser right now at 1%. You'll see the little tiny glow, right? And I'm going to do one other thing. I'm going to frame the part. So I'm off a little bit, so let's move it over. And I'll do. And now if I do shift and frame, the laser will come on. So I'm down too low, and I've set it at 1% in Lightburn for that reason. So you see me off screen, I'm actually hitting the shift button on my. I'm very close. Shift and frame again. Okay, I need to move up a little bit more because my position is good. I just need to move further on Y. And I'll hold shift one last time. Frame. That looks good. That's all in the part, right? That looks actually quite good. So one other thing I want to do, I need to set in my movements. I'm going to set this at 3000. So I'm doing raster engraving. At 3000. No, I'll do let's go from higher. I'm going to set at 4000. And I'm going to do it at 60% or 70%, right? When I'm going to do the burn, and I'm actually doing dithering. Actually, I should go higher. I should go 5,000, and it's 70% for dithering. If it doesn't work out, I can always redo it again, right? So we'll give it a try. I hope everyone can see. Before I start, glasses. Right now, I'm only doing 1% burn, so it's not going to do anything. My really cool glasses that are adjustable. Fashionable, everybody, I hope. You know, supposed to see you're supposed to see the world through rose-colored glasses. I'm actually looking at it through green. So, all right. So I'm setting for dithering because this is an image. I'm not doing vector engraving, which is line art. This is actually an image. I'm trying to burn. So before I do that looks 5,070%. I don't have air assist, so that's off. Consistent power mode, yes. I'll say okay to that. So let me show you the image that I'm burning. This is the image that I downloaded. It's going to do a dithered image of that. Let's see if we're going too fast or whatever. And let's see how it goes. So we ready? Start. Now the laser's starting to fire every now and again. You see it? It may not be high enough. Now it's going off because the image is actually bigger. So that's not high enough. So let me stop. Right? I'm going to change the settings in my color again. And I'm going to go to... I'm going to increase the output to 80%. And let's see how that goes. Because there was no marking at all on the wood at that point. Oh, I forgot to set my, when I move, I forgot to set my fire level to 80. Okay. So go back to our cuts and layers. Let's try that again. Start. Okay. I have to home it first. Stop. Home. Let's see what's in chat. Wear your glasses before you forget. Yeah, I have them on me. So we're going to try and frame this again. That's about right. I didn't turn on the laser that time, but it should be good. So I hit start. Let's see if this burns. And while that's working, let's see what's happening on chat. Everybody's saying hi. Okay. We've been going 2 hours. And if this burns one image, maybe I have it set wrong. I've set it for raster. Maybe I should change the raster type. Because I don't see any mark. Yeah, let's stop and home it again. Because it's not doing anything. So go home. It's got to do with my settings. I know it is. It's been a while since I've done these, so let me see. Maybe if I slow it down to 3000. And bump it up. Instead of doing dithering, I'm actually going to do a Jarvis setup instead. So let me see what that looks like. So 1 second. Yeah. So let's see how that goes. I've upped the power. The laser is firing. It's got to do with my, if it doesn't start burning soon, it's got to do with my settings. And I may need to slow it way down. Yeah, there's no burn either. So again, let's stop it and home it. And I think I need to, yeah, I have to go way slower. I'm going 3000, I need to go way down in speed. So let's go back to cuts and layers. Set my speed down to 800. Okay, I might even go less. Let's do 500. So it spends more time over each area. That's kind of interesting. The higher I set it, the now it's burning though, I can smell it now. It's very lightly burning, so that's okay. It's working. There will be a smell of. I probably would go even darker if I was going to do it again. I'd probably go even darker again. Yeah, I'd probably have to take it down even slower. Let's see how it does with these settings. I can always darken it and just flip it over and do the other side. But now it's actually working because I can smell the the singeing of the wood. Let's see what's happening in chat. Get Ike to help you. Yeah, Jerry calls me Ike because stands for I know everything. So I'm just learning the machine the same as you. This is my first unboxing of this machine. So yeah, it's burning a little light. So I would actually slow the speed down even more. So I'm going to actually do a second pass. Let this run. And I'm going to do a second pass at a slower speed. It's at 90% intensity, but it needs to go slower. But it is marking the wood. Most definitely. It is leaving a mark behind. But I want it to be more pronounced before we call it a day. And then I will do a fair bit of testing on it over the next week or two. I will probably set it up outside when there's no sunlight because I don't want the sensor going off. And can't beat the smell of burning wood. I know, you know, my father was a carpenter, my dad was a carpenter, and there's nothing like the smell of fresh cut wood. You know, it's an amazing smell. So I fully agree with you that either burning wood or even when it's being sawn, it's fantastic. I grew up with it all my life. It's like a comfort smell to me. As long as there's no house burning as part of it, it's good, you know. I don't mind. Now it looks like it's slightly off center, so I will adjust the next piece when I do it. When I do the second pass. So it's done. And before I move it, I'm going to do something kind of smart. Well, maybe. I'm going to mark the side with something, so when I put it back in, I can get it roughly, I want to shift it over towards me a little bit. So what it's done is this. Now it's very, 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 very light. I mean, it's barely marked the wood. So I'm going to slow it way down, and I'm going to do the same again, and I'm going to shift it over a fair bit, but I'm going to bring the speed way down. I'm going to bring it over here so it's more centered. And I'm going to do a framing again, because the last time I framed it went off. So let me try and frame this again. So hold on, shift. I have to go in here first of all to fire. Set it to 1%. I'm going to fire the laser, and I'm going to go over. It's only firing at 1% right now. I'm going to frame. Oh, I never hold on the shift key. A little bit more towards me. Should be better alignment. Yes, and now I'm going to go in and change the settings from 500 speed. I'm going to set it to 300. Which should give it at 90%. Should give it a much darker finish. So let's try it again, guys. Start. Let's see what's happening in chat. Hi Anne, how are you? Comfort spell sounds like a little dangerous. Well, not really. It's as I said, I grew up around wood because my father was a carpenter, so it's nice. That's much darker, but I could probably even go darker again. But it's doing it's actually printing. It's easier to read, to see this time. Maybe 100 millimeters. I'll bring it down to 100 for another pass, maybe. Yeah, I'll probably bring it way down to 100 for another pass, and I'll do one more darker. Maybe even less. Yeah, 100 should be good. But this is working. Let's see what's happening in chat. Fine. Yeah, this is printing. Not super detailed, but it's printing. And that's because I don't have enough time of burn per location. But it is a lot more defined than it was last time. So I have more pieces of wood there. I'm not going to do a burn, a cut, because a cut will create a lot of smoke. And I am indoors, so. Let's see. Yeah, I could go much darker than that. So the outcome is here. That was the first one. Way too fast. That's number 2. So I'm going to go darker again. And I'm going to do the next one much darker. The slow is also not good. It'll burn everything together. It can if it's gone too slow, I agree. So I'm at I was at 300. I'm going to bring it up to 100. I'm going to give the power the same. It should be fine for this. But the details on that is very faint. I want it to be a little darker. So let's try it again. Let's go shift and frame again. We're a little far over, so I'm going to move it a fraction away from me. Now, just so you know, light burn is only $40, so if you do decide to get a laser, it's worth it. There is OpenGRBL, which is free. It works, but light burn is a really fantastic tool. So let's try at 190%. Go. So much more intense beam. Oh yeah, that's definitely standing out. I would imagine that you have to change the settings depending on the material that you are burning. Yes, you would. Harder materials require slower movement, so it takes more time to burn it. Paper, obviously, you can do much faster at lower settings, or slower speed but a higher, or same speed but a lower power setting. So it's a balance between the two, and you have to do some testing to get it right. So, Anne, do you have one of these, or where have you used one of these, or I'm just curious. So that's definitely is charring better. Yeah, different woods will be different because different hardness. Like this is a really soft wood. If I use the wood underneath that, it probably needs to be slightly slower again. For a hard wood, I probably have to go much slower. This is at 90%. You could probably run it at 100%. I generally don't, but you could run it at 100%, especially if you're doing cutting. And like if you're cutting that thin material, you want to be cutting at like 1 or 2, maybe 10 millimeters a second. You'll be going really slow. And if you don't get through in one, you can actually do a multiple pass, or do some testing and then slow it down so you get it done in a single pass. All the material absorbs the laser wavelength of the signal. That is correct. Yes. Nonfam's getting all scientific on us. Cool, man. Yeah, it's all about the material and the density of the material and the absorption of the laser beam. Now that is much better. Yeah, I have a CO2 laser. I have another one of these, but this is a different focus laser, so it's going to be slightly different. Let me have a look at that. Now that's much nicer. You can see that. That actually came out really nice, and it didn't overburn either. It actually did a pretty good job of it. I could even go a little darker. I won't, but I actually might go a little darker. I could go a fraction darker on that. I would say bring it down from 100 to maybe 70. Let's give it a try. Actually, while we're here, I'm not going to do a cut here, but let's give it a try. I'm going to drop this down to 70 to get it a little darker. It's at 100 millimeters a second. I'm bringing it down to 70 millimeters a second. Will get me a little darker at 90. Let's frame that up to see if it's good. I don't think I am, but we'll get close. Oh, I'm very close, so I just need to come over this way and down a little. Try again, and I'm framing at 1% laser beam. Fraction more towards me, and I should be okay. Okay, let's go do another burn. This will be the last burn. To show how we can do. So I dropped it down to 70 speed. 70. It's at 70 millimeters a second, which is still pretty fast. And I'm doing a percentage of 90 as the output. So I just want to get the image a little darker. It was doing good. I want to get it a little bit darker. So let's play. Yes, the more see a shiny material, it won't work on. It won't work on white. It will struggle with. So this is going to be my last test. It is darker because I'm moving slower with the same beam intensity. So it is a balance about how much output do you of the beam you're going to get at focus in comparison to the speed you're going. So the more output, and the slower the speed, the more and darker the burn is, right? So it's a balancing point. And when you're doing raster engraving, it's actually varying the pulse width modulation of the laser. So it has, in some areas it's darker, some areas it's lighter. But you can, if you're doing outlines, you're going to be doing raster engraving or vector engraving, was following the outline shape of a letter or whatever. And in that case, it's different. So it's not pulsing over and back like this is doing. It's actually following the outline of a drawing or a design. I will do some of those, but this is much darker. Now I'm not going to go darker than this, because if you start going much darker than this, because what raster engraving does is it's basically burning dots, right? Because you rasterize the image. It's burning a whole series of dots. And if you overburn, you're going to merge them together, and you're no longer going to get shading, you're going to get just black. And that's pointless. No, you should not be wearing them, Sam. You know better than this. UV doesn't go through your computer screen. Nice try though. So this is going pretty fast. So I'm happy with the output of this. This is the design I'm looking for. Mr. Prentice, how is life? How's the little baby? I hope all is going well with mom and baby. Actually, this looks like a much better burn. So for this material, we kind of, now if you went down to 10 millimeters a second, I'll probably start cutting it, and I don't want to go. Let's not do that. So how's the baby? Let us know. How's mom and baby doing? Those of you who don't know, recently Sam, a couple of weeks ago, Sam and his wife had a new baby. So good news. So let's see. So let's go over the different ones. This is the first one at 3,000 millimeters a second, which is really fast and light. And at 80%. So I upped the percentage to 90%, but I also slowed it down to 1,000. And this is my output at 1,000. Which is, you can see the marks. Then I did this one at 300 millimeters a second at 90%, and it looks pretty good. What does it say? You can, if you want to. Don't listen to Liam. And then finally, this is at 70 millimeters per second and 90%. That's a nice burn. That's actually good quality. I like that. Just been out to a barbecue. It's just coming out to lunchtime here. So I think that's a success. You can feel the indentation. Yes, you can. Now if you're burning and cutting, you will find smoke marks along the edges of the wood. The way to get it over that is to get painter's tape and put painter's tape where you're going to be burning. And what happens is the smoke and the tar from the burning of the material won't stick to the wood and actually lands up on the painter's tape, and you can just peel it off afterwards to get it done. So it looks good. So I'm happy with that. Good outcome. I'll be doing a lot more testing with it. Does anyone have any questions or anything on this? So it's a Ortur Laser Master 2 Pro. It is a 400 by 400 build area or burn area. I might consider the option of someone saying burn my logo onto my desk. Maybe, I don't know. I'll think about it. It has a nice drive chain. It's got some upgrades. So the upgrades are, as I said, it already in the previous iteration of this had the gyroscope. So if you tilted it, the laser would shut off. This has also added some other features like a shield over the laser, which is nice. This shield here. It has adjustable Z. Now this Z is the basic adjust. I do have the advanced pack for the Z adjust that I haven't added on yet, but I will. I'm impressed, Liam. I got one in my basket. Good, very good. Well, that's excellent news. Good for them. Yeah, I don't see any issues with it. I haven't tested heavily, but I don't see any problems with it. And I know a few other people have been testing it, like Chris at Currency Fabrications has been testing it, and a few others. And they're happy with the outcome they're getting. So it is a diode laser. But they also have built-in under here, which I showed you earlier on the main board. It has built-in on the main board an option. Actually, let me go full screen altogether. and take off that little side view. But on the main board, it does have, not only does it have a tilt meter. Let me turn this off first of all before I do anything else. So unplug it, make sure everything's safe. It does have a sensor in here to detect flame. So if it sees flame, it will actually shut itself off. But never leave a laser unattended. And it also has, as I said, the tilt meter is built in. It has the cover. They've added a lot to it. For its price point of $400, it's not bad. Now, for $400, you can get a CO2 laser with a smaller cut area, but you can get a CO2 laser. The question is, do you want to be doing this and move and have the ability to move it around anywhere, or if you go with a CO2 laser, the CO2 laser requires extraction fans in a big way. It requires a water cooling system. It requires an air assist system, so you have to have a compressor for air assist on them, and it has a lot of other additions. So if you just want to engrave logos and images like this on the surface, this is perfect. If you need to do cutting in a big way, a lot deeper cuts, thicker materials, or if you're only going to work in a small area, you have to decide whether you have to deal with the hassle of a CO2 laser, which I have over here, or this, depending on your application. This is great for engraving like this. I think it's fantastic. I haven't found any issues with it so far. So I'll do a lot more testing. If anybody has any other questions, you can please chime in. Actually, Mr. and Mrs. Diesel, ping me your information to let me know about the order number. If you don't mind, I want to let Ortur know that having me review their machine and doing this live unboxing wasn't a waste of time. So if you have an order number, message me the order number. I just want to tell them that there was a purchase made on the stream. It's actually good for me, and it's good for them to know that they're sending me these machines to do these unboxings and so on. It's not a waste of time. I haven't got it yet. It's only $60 or $70 to do the rotary tool, but you'd have to raise the whole unit up. You have to raise the whole unit up off the to do the rotary tool underneath, but you can do a rotary tool. The rotary tool basically takes one of the cables and transfers it. It takes the y-axis cable. There's an extension for the y-axis, and that actually turns the rotary tools because it's using the same stepper motor. Thank you for letting me doing that. Have you thought about burning your skin with it yet? No, and wait, no, not happening. That is definitely not going to happen. I burned myself on my CO2 laser once, and it didn't hurt to burn, but it was sore for days afterwards. You didn't even realize it was burning. I burnt my knuckle a little bit once because I wasn't paying attention. I reached in when it was working. I made the stupid mistake of reaching in. Even though I was wearing my safety glasses don't protect your hands when your hands go inside. Yes, Jerry, thank you for reminding me. Next Saturday, what is the time, Jerry? 1 p.m. Pacific, that's 4 p.m. US Eastern, that's 9 p.m. UK. There is a, Jerry's doing, he's reached to 2,500 subscribers. And while talking about that, please like, subscribe, and ding your bell for my channel, and spread word about my channel, please. But Jerry's doing a giveaway because he's reached 2,500 subscribers, and he's got lots of companies was giving him material stuff to give away. Some are US only, some are international. So please like, subscribe to Jerry's channel, and also Sam Prentice. If you haven't followed Sam Prentice already, do so. We do droid builds and so on Sam's channel. Sam does a lot of printer unboxings and stuff like I do. So follow Sam as well while you're out there. He's got a good channel. Now, Sam, since you came in, I give you a free plug. How's that? Wasn't that worth visiting and coming in to join the stream? And I'll definitely be there for Jerry's. And Jerry's having a hangout this evening, or this afternoon, at 1 p.m. Pacific again, which is 4 p.m. US Eastern. He's having a hangout today. So that's in 2.5 hours' time. Jerry's having a hangout on his channel, 3D Printing and Painting. So please go over and follow that if you want to do a hangout where you come in and chat and just hang out and have a conversation with us face to face on camera. There's going to be a group of us in there, so please consider joining that. My CO2 laser gives me a headache even with the glasses, and that's why you should always have the lid closed. what's happening is probably the flashing of the UV light. The acrylic top, this is acrylic. The acrylic cover actually blocks UV light. You still see the bright flashes, but it actually kills off most of the UV light. So make sure you have the lid on. The glasses, because the CO2 glasses are clear, they're not green, right? And the clear material, they allow some of the UV in, right? So the orange covered, or the orange acrylic that's actually on the lid of your CO2, that actually what kills off most of the. Ike will be there also. Yes, he will. That acrylic actually was what blocks the UV light hitting your eyes. So I would always keep it with the lid down. Don't operate with the lid open, because higher power output means whatever it's burning, it's creating a higher power reaction. So what's reflected off that is actually going to be more intense. So yes, Jerry, Ike will be there. So just keep the lid built over bottom, you should be fine. Just don't look at it. Just be near it. So if you need, like for today, you didn't see, but I'm always equipped. Like down in my workroom, I'm always equipped with a fire extinguisher. There's always one in this room because I have lasers. I have printers down here. I have CO2 laser and I have diode lasers. So I always have this down here. So you should always be near it so you can respond to it if anything goes wrong. It does with the lid down. You can use it, but just don't be looking at it. Like it will cause, those flashes will cause problems. So you're better off to keep away from it. Just mount a camera on the inside so you can watch it remotely. That's a good idea with a Raspberry Pi. My CO2 laser, my K40, is powered by a Raspberry Pi, and I have a camera that's actually mounted, not to align stuff, but I have a camera mounted on the inside, so I can actually watch the print job without actually looking inside through my my Raspberry Pi. Yeah, pets away, no line of sight. Thank you so much. I hope it was a good stream for all of you, and I will be on chat with Jerry on his hangout later on. So if that's the end of it, guys, thank you again for hanging out with me. It's fun as always. Let me see where I am here. Okay, it's fun as always. I love hanging out with you guys. It's always a pleasure to bring you new toys to play with, because we're all into the gadgets and the toys. I probably have a few more. I'm dealing with some companies right now, and I've actually changed their mind on where they're going with their printers, so they're actually listening to me. So maybe we'll have some of that coming up, some of those new design machines coming out in the near future. I'm waiting on a few of those, so I'll keep you posted what's happening. And thank you. And remember, Wednesday nights I do hangouts on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Thursdays or Wednesdays 7 p.m. So US Eastern. If you want to come join me with my hangouts, it's mostly for the US guys, because where most of my followers are. But if you want to come, my hangouts are also on Wednesdays, and Jerry's is on today. At that, I'd like to thank you all for enjoying and hanging out with me for the last 2.5 hours or so. It was a fun build, easy build, but it was a fun build, and we got good outcome. So, Ortur Laser Master 2, thank you, Ortur, for sponsoring this event, and we got a purchase out of it. So it's good for you guys. Thank you guys, and I will see you on Jerry's stream if you hang out if you're on later on. If not, just make sure you like, subscribe, ding the bell, and keep track of when I go live. Everybody's welcome to come join. Thank you guys, and have a good day.